Good morning, everybody. Every day we talk about our recovery as a city, a recovery for all of us. And that means not only coming back stronger, coming back in a way that is more fair, more inclusive, that reaches people who weren't reached before. We've got to look at some of the tough realities out there. And one of the most painful realities that our cities face now for years is what happens to some of our young people from the LGBTQ community who are rejected, in too many cases, rejected by their families. This is something Shirley and I have talked about. We are pained by it. We do not understand it. We don't understand how any parent or any family could send away their own child because they don't agree with who they are. It just doesn't make sense. There should be that unconditional love. But it doesn't happen sometimes, and kids, teenagers, young people end up on the streets of our city, and too often runaways, homeless, without help, with nowhere to turn. For years now, we have been working on solutions. We've been working on a way to embrace and support these young people, and that's where the Unity Project comes in. This has been something that has been an act of love, an act of faith to help these young people. And we're making another big step with the Unity Project today. I want you to hear from the founder and the heart and soul of the Unity Project, and she happens to be our First Lady, Shirley McCray.
Thank you, Bill, and good morning, everyone. I am so thrilled to celebrate the launch of this history-making program. This was a long time coming, but we finally got here. Last Wednesday, I spoke at the official launch of Unity Works at the Ali Forney Center. They've been such an incredible partner. And there was so much joy in the room, excitement in the eyes of the young people, our community leaders, our employer partners. This is a launch I will remember for a long time to come. Let me tell you, I can't believe we finally got this off the ground. A pandemic really hindered us. This is a population that would have been so easy to overlook given everything else that's going on in our city, but here we are. And I want to tell you a little bit more about everything every young person will receive in this program. They're going to gain exposure to a variety of different industries, especially those that are growing quickly right now, like media, human and social resources, social services, the arts, as well as more traditional pathways. Every young person will be paired with mentors who are deeply invested in their success, and there are job developers, case navigators, support staff who will help them plan for their future, master the skills they need, and make those key connections and decisions that all young people have to make that help them down the road. All this will happen at the same time they are receiving everything they need for stability as they enter adulthood. That means food, clothing, mental health care, including counseling. And I want to emphasize that we're staying with these young people for the long term. Every young person will have 2 years of intensive direct services and a follow-up year of support. And this is all possible thanks to some truly extraordinary partners. The Ali Forney Center, the Mayor's Fund, the Department of Youth and Community Development, and many incredible community organizations, including the Coalition for Homeless Youth. And of course, there are dozens of employer partners like American Airlines, American Express, L'Oreal, and many, many more who really stepped up to support our young people. Now, as we all know, it takes more than a roof over your head to thrive. LGBTQ, children of color, immigrant young people without families to support them have an especially difficult time in our city. But every young person deserves the kind of care and safety net that a family provides. Through Unity Works, we're going to bring that support to them. So thank you all, and back to you, Bill.
Thank you so much, Shirley. Shirley, I know this has been such a labor of love for you, and you put your heart and soul into it with so many other good people in this administration and so many other partners in the community. I know you believed there was something that could be done and had to be done for these young people. the shelter that we've worked on for years, and now finding them employment opportunities, finding them a future. One of many things that look daunting, but I want to commend you and everyone you worked with for getting it done. So congratulations.
Thank you. We've had a great team.
Amen. I want you to hear everyone now from a couple other folks who have really been pivotal to this effort, who understand how important it is to reach these young people, and who have devoted their lives to addressing this horrible inequality where some of our young people don't get seen, don't get the help they need, and they're doing something about it. First of all, he has 20 years experience working in communities of color, working to address the economic inequalities that young people face, really looking across the board on how we make change. And he is the Chief Program Officer for the LGBT Center. My pleasure to introduce Daniel Reyes.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for inviting me to be here today. You know, we are excited to partner with the city and the Ali Forney Center on this life-changing initiative for homeless, BIPOC, queer, trans, and gender-expansive young people. I really want to thank you, Mayor de Blasio, and the First Lady Shirlane for your deep commitment to young people of color. At the center, we are committed to engaging in sustainable strategies that will advance the economic opportunities for all of our communities. And we know in particular that the economic exclusion experienced by Black and Brown trans community members is significant. And that's why, with the center's experience in creating opportunities for young people through skill set acquisition, paid internships, and wraparound support services, we are confident that this joint collaboration with the city and the Ali Forney Center will be an amazing success. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Thank you for all you've been doing, and thank you for all you're going to do to help make this a success. And now, everyone, I want you to hear from another leader in this field who's really worked to bring together a variety of agencies, nonprofits, community groups to help young people all across the state, from young people who've run away, young people who are homeless, young people who are living on the streets, young people who are dealing with incredibly complex challenges. I want to thank her for the good work she and her colleagues do. She is the Executive Director of the Coalition for Homeless Youth. My pleasure to introduce Jamie Pavlovich.
Thank you for that, and thank you for having me come to speak today. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'd like to start off by thanking you, Mayor de Blasio, and First Lady, for your commitment to the needs of youth experiencing homelessness in New York City, and again, specifically to the First Lady for your commitment to the needs of LGBTQ young people through the creation of the Unity Project. To frame the issue and how important the Unity Works program will be to young people experiencing homelessness, I'd like to talk about the overall experience of young people experiencing homelessness in this city. On any given night in New York City, over 4,500 youth and young adults sleep in shelters and on the streets. Too many have been forced out of their homes because of family rejection and or abuse because of their sexual orientation and gender identity. LGBTQ youth are disproportionately represented in the youth homelessness population, both nationally and here in New York City. And if there's anything that the youth with the lived experience of homelessness have taught us, it is that cookie cutter approaches to very unique situations often do not work. That we must invest in targeted interventions that see them as individuals and not as a system or a statistic, which is exactly what Unity Works will do. Through this first of its kind programming, Unity Works will provide holistic supports to LGBTQ youth experiencing homelessness through social emotional support, educational assistance, and employment training and placement. Each year, unfortunately, under 2% of youth that exit youth shelters move into their own apartments. Without access to jobs that pay fair and livable wages, youth are too often forced to cycle in and out of homelessness and housing stability. This is especially true for our LGBTQ young people and was only made worse by the COVID-19 pandemic. By the city choosing the Ali Forney Center as the home of the Unity Work program, New York City is recognizing the amazing work that AFC has done to provide affirming services to some of our city's most vulnerable youth. And we are confident that given their track record of providing shelter, services, and supports to LGBTQ youth experiencing homelessness, that once up and running, the Unity Works program will change the trajectory of countless youth. We would also ask that in the next administration, this program is continued without pause. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamie, and thank you for being a passionate advocate for these young people. And I agree with you. This is an idea that needs to continue into the future. So thank you. Thank you for all you do. And everyone, I want you to hear from one more person, really extraordinary leader, new leader on the state scene, but someone who has devoted his life for years to young people as a teacher, as an advocate for homeless and runaway youth. And this is exactly the kind of person we need to see more of in public office. So I'm happy to say he is also now the chair of the State Senate Committee on Children and Families. My pleasure to introduce State Senator Jabari Brisport.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks to all. So again, my name is Jabari Brisport. I use he, him pronouns, and last summer I became the first openly gay legislator of color ever sent to Albany. So I want to thank the de Blasio administration, the First Lady, the Ali Forney Center, the NYC Unity Project, and so much more for this incredible project. You know, all of us, regardless of the way you identify, have at some point felt like we don't belong, we don't have a place, we don't fit in. In the queer community, especially for queer youth, those feelings can be pervasive even in the home and among family members, or even when they become homeless. So I really want to thank this incredible endeavor to provide wraparound services, supports, job training, internships, and so much more for our queer youth, because we are telling them and sending a message to all of them that not only do you belong in our economy as a worker, but you belong in our community as a human being and a person. We see you, you're welcome here, and thank you.
Beautifully said, Senator. I really appreciate it, and thank you for all you're doing for us in Albany. Very much appreciated. Okay, so we're talking about a recovery for all of us. There's many, many elements to it. The social justice element, the crucial pieces that we talk about every day about making the city more fair in the future, what we just talked about now with the Unity Project, a key example. There's also everything we have to do to bring this city back, bring back its vibrancy, its energy, bring back the jobs, bring back the life of the city, bring back everything that we loved before the pandemic, and we will. I have no question in my mind. And more and more people are seeing this about New York City. They're seeing that New York City is coming back. They're investing in New York City. They're making the decision to come here, to live here, to create businesses here. But one of the things that underlies, I should say, for all of this, the foundation for all of this, one of the things that we have to get right always to allow everything else to happen, we got to make sure our city's clean. And that sometimes was a struggle during the pandemic. A lot of things got cut back. A lot of things were harder to do. But to bring the city back, we've got to now lean even more into making it the place that will work for everyone. We did that with our City Cleanup Corps, which has been a really wonderful success, employing thousands of New Yorkers to help clean up sidewalks, beautify communities, wipe out graffiti. But of course, when we think about keeping the city clean, keeping the city moving in every way, we think about our Department of Sanitation, which has done just absolutely outstanding work throughout this pandemic and so many other times of challenge and crisis, whether it's a hurricane, a snowstorm. Department of Sanitation has been there. They are real heroes who deserve more recognition. And when I go to Sanitation Garage, I tell the men and women there how proud of them I am. I try to laud them publicly a lot because they deserve it. And I hear the stories from communities about how much they are valued. Well, we made a major decision, a major investment to bring more sanitation workers on the job. And we have a new class tomorrow that this is going to be a big, big moment, inducting a new class of sanitation workers, over 800 new members of the Department of Sanitation, the most since 2005 for a single class. So this is a big moment for the city. Brings us up to 9,500 sanitation employees total. This is a really amazing team that's done great work and will do great work ahead. And I have gotten to see this work firsthand. I've also gotten to see the work of our commissioner firsthand. He has devoted his life to the sanitation department. He has done an absolutely amazing job, and there's something I appreciate about someone who worked his way up from the very beginning, serving the city the whole way, and now runs the entire department and runs it in a way that makes everyone so proud. My pleasure to introduce our Sanitation Commissioner, Ed Grayson.
Thank you, sir. Your commentary on the workforce is just so appreciated every time you do it. These men and women are dedicated public servants. And yes, tomorrow is an exciting day as we give the oath of office to over 800 new sanitation workers and various promotees. 22 years ago, I joined the Department of Sanitation. I'm in my 23rd, this will be my 23rd winter. And every year I think back on pride about my colleagues then and my colleagues now who wake up every single day doing all they can to be dedicated public servants, having impact on all New Yorkers' lives as we do our job. It is an honorable profession. It is something that was the best thing to happen to me. It is a great time to start with the department right now as we expand new programs. Our precision cleaning teams are out there addressing quality of life concerns. We are expanding organics programs to go back to some curbside collection. We are training for snow season. We have trained over 5,000 members of service, and we're going to continue to do that leading up, preparing for winter. And it's an amazing time. Internally, we are looking towards the future on electrification of the fleet and doing all we can to prepare and train and be what the public expects of us, their dedicated workforce. And I can honestly tell you that each member of service is absolutely proud of what we do. We try hard every single day, whether it be snow or hurricane or rain, hot or cold, we're always out there doing all we can to keep New York City healthy, safe, and clean. To the members of service who have been on, I thank them again for everything that they do, they and their families. And for this new class that we'll be swearing in tomorrow, to them and to their families, we thank you in advance for what you'll do. A life of public service is always looked at usually through the rearview mirror. You don't realize how much good you've done until you're looking back on it. I can assure you, you're starting the first steps of a career that'll do amazing work. Thank you, sir.
Amen. Beautifully said, Ed. And I think you make a great point, and I hope right now you are appreciating your life of public service while you're right in the middle of the thick of it. We appreciate you and really excited for over 800 more sanitation workers joining us. Congratulations to this whole new class, and we value you. We appreciate you. Welcome aboard. Now, when it comes to recovery, we know vaccination has been the fuel. Vaccination has been the foundation. Vaccination is making everything possible. Every day we get a little bit better. And some big news up ahead when it comes to vaccination, because soon we'll be able to reach our youngest New Yorkers. But in the meantime, we're using every creative approach to get more and more people vaccinated, and a lot of these approaches are working. Last week we talked about Vax to the movies, and wonderful approach. Vaccination sites right outside movie theaters. New Yorkers are flocking back to movie theaters. That's great. And they're all vaccinated going in there. Well, a lot of people want to go to the movies, need to get vaccinated. We'll make it as easy as this. There's a vaccination site right outside the theater. You get to go to the movies. You get $100 incentive. You can have a great time. It's something wonderful for everyone. So last weekend was the first weekend. And I'm happy to say over 670 New Yorkers got vaccinated outside the movie theaters. It had a great, great start, so we're going to double down. We're going to be at 7 more theaters this weekend, and we're going to keep building from there. This is a fun, easy, positive way. Go out and get vaccinated. You're going to feel great about it. You're going to feel great about the movie you go to see, because there's a lot of great movies out there now. I want you to hear from someone who understands how important this is, because we want people to come back to our theaters the right way, the safe way, by being vaccinated. We're seeing great, great results all over the city of folks getting vaccinated. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead. Hold on. They've just given me a note that I made a mistake here in the program. I'll come right back to Vax to the movies. My apology. I forgot to turn to someone who I want us all to hear from on the sanitation department. And we just talked about how important it is to bring on those new sanitation workers. Someone who has been fighting for a long time to expand sanitation services, who has been leading the effort in the city council to make sure the city is clean and make sure we innovate new approaches. He has been a very energetic activist member of the city council and focused on the issues of sanitation in particular. He's also about to be the next borough president of Brooklyn. My pleasure to introduce Councilmember Antonio Reynoso.
Thank you so much, Mayor de Blasio. I apologize. I'm outside, so you'll be hearing some noise.
You look live
but I
action.
just wanna
That's
say-
a live action shot, Antonio.
It is, and the reception is not that good either, I've noticed. But I wanted to thank you for pausing the program, but I want to say anything for a championship for the Brooklyn Nets. I see that you know that Kyrie Irving loves movies and that he's going to get back so he can see some movies, and we get everybody in the city of New York back. So I just want to thank you for incentivizing the Brooklyn Nets to a championship. But I do want to say for the sanitation workers in the city of New York, we're so grateful for the work that they've done. They've all been vaxxed. We're talking about 800 new folks out in the streets, making sure that the city is as clean as ever. This is so important as we recover, and I'm so grateful that the sanitation workers are going to get a new class. Commissioner Grayson has done an absolutely amazing job with limited resources, and has really dedicated his time as commissioner to make sure that this city is as clean as ever. I can't tell you how grateful I am to New York City's strongest, to you, Mayor de Blasio, for making sure that this class is up and ready to go on day one. And thank you all.
Well, thank you, council member. You did a good job with your remote feed there. We heard you great. And thank you. I know you've advocated for a long time for the men and women of the sanitation department. And I know this is a day that you've been pushing for. I'm glad we have finally made it. And I think I also like your approach there, encouraging Kyrie Irving by telling him he can also go to the movies. That's a novel approach. I like that. Thank you very much. So where I was a moment ago, forgive me for getting out of order there, the Vax to the Movies effort, again, we're seeing great success. We're going to keep building on it. And I want you to hear from someone who understands how important the theaters are, the movie theaters to New York City, how exciting the movie experience is in a big screen setting. There's nothing like it. He has been advocating for theaters all over the country for their comeback, to bring back the movie industry, and has been partnering with us on Vax to the Movies. He is Chief Operating Officer of one of the largest and most geographically diverse movie theater companies in the United States of America. My pleasure to introduce the COO of Regal Cinemas, Matt Ayer.
Thank you very much. We're proud to be working with Mayor de Blasio in our Regal theatres and pushing this Vax to the Movies. I think it's a great incentive. I think it's really good. It makes our cinemas feel even safer than they already are. We've had no cases reported in theatres, as I think we talked about in weeks gone past. But this weekend we had a great turnout and plenty of people taking advantage of the Vax centres. Cinemas are a safe place to watch movies, and who wouldn't want to get vaccinated? You get $100, you come to the theatre, you get some popcorn, you go and sit down and watch the likes of Halloween, Venom, No Time to Die, the new Bond movie, which is out now. In the future, we've got Dune, Eternals, Ghostbusters, Spider-Man and Matrix, all coming soon, and all to be watched in the best place to watch a movie, in our theaters. Thank you.
Matt, thank you so much. And Matt, where is the accent from?
The accent is from the northeast of England originally, but I lived in London for 30 years, and then when Cineworld bought Regal, I was shipped out to sunny Knoxville, as you can see in the background here.
Well, there you go. And listen, I want to thank you for advocating for movie theaters nationwide and here in New York City. But I also have to tell you, you know, the new James Bond role is up for grabs. So, I mean, you have the accent. You have the accent. You're halfway there.
I wish.
You know, Daniel Craig's done. They're looking for someone new. Job opportunity. You're already in the industry. You know? So listen, thank you. Thank you for supporting Vax to the Movies, and amen to what you said, and that, yes, our movie theaters have been safe. Get out there and enjoy them, everyone. Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, we're going to do what we do every day. Go to our indicators. And the first one is always the best one. Doses administered to date, 11,853,924. We are closing in on 12 million doses soon. That's unbelievable. Number two, daily number of people admitted to New York City hospitals for suspected COVID-19. Today's report, 87 patients. Confirmed positivity level, 27.17%. And most importantly, hospitalization rate per 100,000 people, 0.3. 1.68. That is such good news. Number 3, new reported cases on a 7-day average. Today's report, 940 cases. So vaccination is working, but we got to double down on it. We got to go farther. We got to defeat COVID once and for all. And a few words in Spanish, also on this wonderful Vax the Movies initiative. El fin de semana pasado lanzamos Vax to the Movies, llevando vacunas de COVID a cines en los 5 condados. Casi 700 neoyorquinos fueron vacunados, recibieron $100 y están más seguros contra este virus. Este fin de semana vamos a estar en aún más teatros para que más residentes se vacunen y puedan disfrutar de lo mejor de nuestra ciudad. With that, let's turn to our colleagues in the media. Please let me know the name and outlet of each journalist.
We will now begin our Q&A. As a reminder, we are joined today by Commissioner Ed Grayson from DSNY, Dr. Mitch Katz, President and CEO of NYC Health and Hospitals, Dr. Ted Long, Executive Director of Test and Trace, and by Megan Keenan Berryman, the Assistant Commissioner at DYCD. With that, we will go to our first question from Juliet from 1010 Wins.
Yes, good morning, everyone. So since we're talking about sanitation, I'd like to know why there are no public trash cans along 6th Avenue. I have noticed that on both sides of the street in the mid-50s, there are no public trash cans. And why is that? And so I guess if there's no trash cans, like there's no pickup?
So,
I don't understand that.
Juliet, I appreciate the question. As a Brooklynite, I'm going to say, I assume you're talking about Manhattan, because we have a 6th Avenue too. But it's an important question. We get this question a lot. Why does sanitation in some places put public trash cans and other places doesn't? And it's a complex issue, but Ed Grayson has a great ability to break these things down. Ed, please speak to that.
Thank you, sir. And yeah, Juliet, what we'll do is we'll circle back with you offline because I want to know the exact parameters of where I know you're saying in 6th and the 50s. And we'll talk about the exact specific locations because basket placement does have a level of criteria, foot traffic, impact, available space on the curb. Naturally, we'd like to have public trash receptacles out. The more we have out, the more likely we can get people to make a good decision, and then we can come back around and service it. So we'll definitely be following up through my press office to find out exactly where, and then we can look into the exactly why. There may be a valid reason off the top of my head. For me, I would have a litter basket on every corner, except that's really not conducive either. And it doesn't mean that because there's not a basket there that there's no sanitation in the area. It just may be it doesn't meet the criteria for a litter basket placement, or something may have happened to the existing basket that was there and we had to remove it temporarily. But we will definitely get back with you.
And Juliet, I want to thank you because a lot of times you've alerted us to something that needed to be addressed. If this is something where one was taken out because it was broken but not replaced, that's the kind of thing we need to know about so we can fix. So thank you for that. And Ed and his team will follow up with you. Go ahead, Juliet.
And I reserve my right to the second question, but just to follow up on this, yeah, it's several blocks, 6th Avenue in Midtown Manhattan, and I noticed this for quite a while. And usually, sometimes the bids have baskets there, but there's no bid baskets there. So I don't get it. Restaurants are open there. There's a lot more foot traffic and tourists that are back, and the baskets are missing.
Before your second question, I don't get it either.
Right.
For the record, I don't get it either because that's obviously a highly trafficked area and a commercial area that would be typically the kind of place where we definitely would want the public litter basket. So I'm confused myself, but I know Ed will get to the bottom of it, and there's something we need to fix. We'll fix it right away. Go ahead, Juliet.
Okay. Also, there are people on the Upper West Side who tell me that they're moving their cars for alternate side parking, and the street sweeper doesn't come by. So, are people out there, doing?
Okay, can you hear us, Juliet? All right, I think we got.
Yes,
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes, continue. There you go. We heard you say that they move their cars and the sweeper doesn't come by.
Right. So I was wondering, what's the answer to that? Where's the street sweeper?
Damn good question. Ed.
Thank you, Juliet. Well, again, if we can get some specifics from you, and the reason why I want to get into that is because currently the alternate side program is the last day of the posted signage. So depending on what neighborhood you're in, there may be 1 or 2 dates on the sign for the particular week, and perhaps someone who's telling you is moving it on the day that we're not coming because we're only coming on the last posted day in all parts of the city that have multiple time sweep. So I would definitely like some specifics to do that. On a random, if it's only 1 time a week posted and we were supposed to be there, it could be something that on a specific day, the mechanical broom had a mechanical failure where the piece of equipment went down. So again, a little bit of specifics and we'll follow back up with you and I will do a deep dive, but I definitely I want everybody to move the car. Moving the car for the broom is the most critical thing. If we can't get to the curb, we can't make the streets clean. So I definitely want to make sure that anywhere where we have people doing the right thing, our pieces are there to do the job.
Amen.
Next, we have Ari from New York One.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, all right. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good.
I wanted to follow up on a question that you got on the Brian Lehrer show on Friday from a woman whose home you visited in Queens in the wake of Hurricane Ida. She said she applied for FEMA aid. I think she said she's getting about $5,000, and indeed the average amount that people are getting through FEMA is just a couple $1,000s. That's a pretty small amount considering construction costs in New York City and considering what even moderate or minor damage from the flood would do. What other resources can families turn to in the city? And if federal government programs and funding can't make people whole, what should the city's role be in that?
Thank you. Great question, Ari. First of all, I'm disappointed what I'm hearing about FEMA's decisions here, and I'm surprised, and we're going to follow up and try and fix that. I was in her basement. She had many, tens of thousands of dollars of damage would be my estimate. The FEMA aid, I believe, was up to something like $34,000 was the potential per household. I don't know how they could have only said it was thousands. So there's some kind of way that FEMA assesses each property. We're going to appeal back to them to question that, because it sounds like they're really lowballing people. So the first thing, Ari, I'd like to see is we can get FEMA to own up to what the real levels of impact are and provide people more even within the capacity that they have. Second, there are both federal and city efforts where in some cases we can do direct grants, in many other cases we can do loans, but they could be no interest or very low interest loans. So we have a lot of resources. They're not perfect by any stretch, but there's a lot of different options that can help people. We've had folks out on that block and many other blocks going door to door, working with people on whatever options they need. I asked my team to follow up directly with her again and figure out whatever combination of efforts will help her. So we're going to do all of that, but I think it really begins with appealing back to FEMA that these decisions they're making are just not fair to the homeowners. Go ahead, Ari.
Thank you. This is on a separate subject, a question from my colleague, Anna Sterling. The city has not released data on drug overdoses since September 2020, which is a pretty significant lag that the health department acknowledges is not typical. We already know nationwide from the CDC that overdoses are spiking during the pandemic. You've repeatedly cited the extraordinary circumstances of the pandemic in explaining delays for other things having to do with the city administration. But other public offices in the city, like the Queens and Staten Island DA's offices, track these overdoses in their own boroughs in real time. So how can the city not justify not keeping up this basic function of tracking and analyzing an existing public health crisis during an even larger public health crisis?
Well, Ari, I think the way you asked the question kind of explains the answer. I think it's fair to say Department of Health, which would do that tracking, has been understandably overwhelmed by dealing with COVID now for more than a year and a half. They've also done a hell of a good job of putting out a lot of information on the fight against COVID and being one of the most transparent agencies in the country, in fact. If there's catching up they have to do, then we need to do it right away. We are finally making some real headway against COVID. We need to catch up. It's important. They have had other offices. I'm not going to judge other offices. I'm glad for the work they do, but what Department of Health's been dealing with has been seismic and overwhelming. But I'm sure Commissioner Choksi, he's not on now, but I'm sure we'll have him follow up in his team with you. I'm sure they will get that fixed quickly.
Next, we have Abu from Bangla Patrika.
Hello, Mayor. How are you?
Hey, Abu, how you been?
Good. Thank you so much. So my question is, there is a lot of small business in the city. They don't get any kind of, SBL loan or any kind of stimulus. But the condition bill, they were shut down like a year. The condition bill came like $15,000-$20,000, and they are not unable to pay even, and in order to start the business. And the condition is sending them letter to terminate the line. So is there anything you could say, and do you have any suggestion for that kind of business?
Yeah, great question, Abu, and I'm particularly concerned about the smallest businesses. I hear your point loud and clear. They're the most vulnerable. They've had the hardest time accessing federal aid, for example. But our Small Business Services Department works, very individualized work with every small business to solve their problem. And they can talk to Con Ed on behalf of the small business. If that small business is planning to come back, SBS can help them deal with all the other agencies of government, deal with Con Ed, get them loans if they need that, or even direct grants. So what I would urge you to do, our team will follow up with you, is just publicize to small business owners in the community. They can turn to SBS and get that help and get that intervention with Con Ed. It doesn't guarantee everything will work perfectly, but I think they can really help. Go ahead, Abu.
My second question is about the subway crime. Today there is a report the subway crime is going up again. So any initiative taken by the city which they can lower this crime rate and people feel safe?
Yeah, we need everyone to both be safe and feel safe, Abu. And what the NYPD has done in the subways, I think, has been very powerful. We surged officers into the subway many months ago. It had a very positive effect. It's the biggest subway presence by the NYPD in decades. And it worked. And that doesn't mean there's not going to be moments when certain types of crime go up again that we have to address. So we'll use precision policing. We'll get out there and we'll fix that too. But we've proven when we apply NYPD resources in a place where there's a particular need, it overwhelmingly works. It turns the tide. It makes things right. And this is a particular pattern, I suspect, that we'll be able to address and NYPD will be able to answer.
Next, we have Marla from WCBS 880.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. On this subway, also, it's getting colder. We could see more homeless in the subway. Is there any plan, I don't know, similar to what you did last year during COVID to get these people mental health assistance and housing?
Absolutely, Marla. Thank you for the question. What we found, remember, the plan that was put into effect predated the pandemic, first of all, the Journey Home Plan, with the very intensive outreach efforts by the extraordinary homeless outreach workers. I want to thank them for what they do. They're also unsung heroes. They have brought thousands of people off the streets and kept them off the streets. It's an amazing, amazing story that really isn't getting the attention it deserves, because there's been a systematic strategy over the last few years that's really worked. They're out there. They're going to be deeply involved in the subways. But we also found at the end of the subway lines is a place where we could make much more impact. You're going to see a lot of presence there at those terminal stations. And that's where we're able to convince people to come in, go in particularly to our safe havens, which have been very effective, smaller facilities, get the help they need, and in a lot of cases, get them off the street permanently. So we're going to be applying that with a lot of energy as it gets cooler. Go ahead, Marla.
And also, banking off of Juliet's question on the street sweepers, I can tell you on the Upper West Side in the 90s and 100s, they often do not show up. But I'm wondering if, with the extra sanitation workers, if you'll bring back 4-day-a-week street cleaning.
So Marla, great question. We're going to settle that before the end of the administration for sure. This is an issue where, in the height of COVID, I thought it was really important to reduce the burden on people, and also we were trying to help people who were trying to, stay inside or quarantine by not having to move the car as much. There's clearly a pro here to reducing the number of times people have to move their car. As someone who had to do it for many years myself in my neighborhood in Brooklyn, the endless circling the block and idling and the congestion that comes with it are all negatives, and also just the quality of life dynamic for anyone to have to go through all that. If we can do that once a week rather than twice a week, that makes sense. We also have to make sure the streets are clean. And the big question has been, what's the smartest balance of those two realities? So we're going to come to a final decision on that as we're fighting our way out of COVID. We're going to come to a final decision for the future. Now, I want Ed, though, to speak to this point again. We, in the meantime, have said on the streets historically, both sides of the street 2 times a week. That's not the real rule at this moment while we're sorting out the future. So Ed, if you could explain again to people when they see the sign that tells them to move twice in the week on their side of the street, how they should handle that.
Thank you, sir. And I definitely will also be following back up with you, Upper West Side in the 90s. I definitely want to know those areas. But again, right now you have posted signage for street cleaning regulations. If they have more than one day on the signage where that regulation would be imposed, you to go to the last day. You're to move your car on the last posted day. So if it's Tuesday, Friday, you would do Friday. If it's Monday, Thursday, you would do Thursday in that instance. So what we may have is people who look up, see the sign, and move on what is now not the service day. So that would be the only comeback that I could say that wasn't route incident specific as far as why we failed to sweep a block. But the key thing is compliance. I think that the mayor touches on a great point. In order for us to truly evaluate and get a great picture on just how many times you really need to move your car, there are certain parts of the city that accumulate more litter, but the truth is we need the cars to move. So again, the big thing for us is I definitely want to make sure that anybody who's abiding by the regulations, we're getting our broom down that block. But oftentimes it is the lack of compliance that hurts street cleaning, and often the lack of compliance that hurts our ability to really evaluate where we need to be. But I look forward to continuing to find those answers.
Thank you.
Next, we have Michael from the Daily News.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everybody on the call.
Hey, Michael, how you been?
I'm doing all right. I wanted to ask you about a report Scott Stringer put out this morning that says, based on the comptroller's office, they're projecting a $111 million dip in annual sales tax revenue, and they're basically attributing this to the trend towards work at home, people working from home and staying in their neighborhoods, and the shift away from people being in more commercial neighborhoods. So the question for you is, what is the city doing about this? What should the city be doing about this? And do you see, this trend is fixed? I'm sure over the years we'll see changes up and down, but, what do you project as far as this work from home trend goes, in the years ahead?
Yeah, Michael, haven't seen the report. Our overall revenue picture for the city is stable right now when you take all forms of revenue. So that's the big picture. In terms of your question, I think you're seeing more and more people coming back to their workplaces. A lot of businesses have pegged now November 1st as the day to come back with large numbers of the workforce. A lot of them are going to reduce the amount of remote. So even if people do some remote, it's going to be a lot less. I think that's going to help address this. I think the long-term trend line here is going to be that you're going to see a rebalancing over the next year or so. Many businesses found what we found, that a lot of work is done best in person. There'll be, some sense of how to handle the amount of remote that makes sense in the future, but it's going to be less, I believe, than what we saw at the height of the pandemic, for sure. So I think this will be addressed in some ways organically by the changes that you're going to see. And also, what are we doing? Getting everyone vaccinated. Getting everyone vaccinated, bringing the city back strong, bringing back the life of the city. That's going to also encourage people to want to come in. Go ahead, Michael.
All right, this is second question's a bit more lighthearted, and I realize you might not be the most reliable source to ask this question of, but today there's news that I know you're a big baseball fan, that Aaron Boone has been re-signed as the Yankees manager for the next 3 years, and so I'm wondering, sources I talk to are not happy with this. What do you make of this? I know there's probably a lot of baggage you have surrounding Aaron Boone. Do you think he should have been re-signed for this role?
I have issues, historic issues, as a fan of my team with Aaron Boone, but really they're respectful issues because he beat us fair and square. Look, I think the issue is in many ways less about the managers and more about the players at this point, meaning the selection of players, the mix of players. I think the teams that are doing well are doing some really smart things about finding players who are less high-priced. Look at the Tampa Bay Rays. I think it's about really more what happens with the general manager than the manager in many ways nowadays.
Next, we have Julia from the New York Post.
Hey, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, no baseball questions for you today.
Come on, Julia. Come on. It's the news of the day.
I guess so. I actually want to talk about schools at first. Given that kids went back to school over a month ago, what is the date that you will release full attendance numbers? And related, there was a report out by Advocates for Children that found a quarter of homeless students were absent from schools in the last several weeks. Can you address that as well?
Sure. We'll be getting the enrollment data. Really, I think this is the thing we're all of us interested in, is where are we overall with enrollment and where are we with our trend lines on attendance each day. We'll get that out by the end of the month for sure, which is the typical reality any year, even pre-pandemic. On the homeless students, we definitely have more work to do. I think from what I'm hearing, that report underestimated attendance, and attendance is actually somewhat higher, but still there's more to do, unquestionably. We know with the challenges homeless kids have, their attendance is often lower than for our broader population of kids. We got to do extra work in the shelters, direct work with the families to make sure we get kids in. So definitely work to do, but I think we'll be able to get that number up soon. Go ahead, Julia.
Great, thanks. Sorry, Dr. Choksi isn't here, so hopefully you can field this one. 1,000 Department of Health employees, of course, workers who've led so much of the city's response to the pandemic, say the agency's return to work policy is unsafe. In an October 1st letter they wrote to the commissioner, they say there's no social distancing at their Queens headquarters, not enough soap or hand sanitizer. Information about internal cases is not transparent, and there's no evidence or science-based data behind the decision to bring everyone back. 3 employees told me how demoralized and anxious they are about the situation, and they wonder how the public can trust the city's health officials when their own work policies are putting them at risk. So I'm looking for your response.
Yeah, look. Any specific issue where we have to address a problem, if there's a need for more soap or something like that, of course we want to get that right. But I am questioning of anything that suggests that our health department and our health department leadership is doing anything but looking out for the needs of the people in New York City. I just don't buy. Dr. Choksi's done an outstanding job. The leadership of the Department of Health have helped to see us through this crisis. They have been focused on how we serve people best. So with all due respect to if any concern here is valid, needs to be addressed, we'll address it. But I want to get to the heart of the matter. We need our employees back where they can serve people best to fight our way out of this pandemic. It is about public service. It's about serving others. I think Dr. Katz could give us some perspective here, because it's not his agency, but his agency has been at the front line of this crisis from the very beginning. Everyone in person, everyone fighting through. He's been incredibly devoted to his workforce. But the big question here is what will serve the people of New York City best? And that work is done when people are working together to give us the very best outcomes for the public. So, Dr. Katz, you want to speak to that?
Yes, thank you, sir. I think you've covered the key points, which is that we're public servants. We're here to serve others. And that in any setting, I know in health and hospitals, and I'm sure in the Department of Health, when people cannot achieve sufficient social distancing, what they do is they're sure that they're wearing masks. And that's how we function in settings where our focus is taking care of the public and the needs of the public, and then to protect each other, we wear our masks. So I understand that in any work population, there are people who feel safer if they can work from home. But as you've said, sir, overwhelmingly, the public's work gets done best when we're in the office. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
We have time for two more today. Our next question goes to Dana from the New York Times.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Dana, how you doing today?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good, good.
So, Governor Hochul continues to apparently consolidate support for her reelection. And in a new poll out today, she had a double-digit lead, with you winning 6% of those polled. Are these sort of signals at all impacting your deliberations surrounding your gubernatorial run?
Dana, I have a long, rich history of being an underdog. I have seen polls like that literally every time I've run for office. If I worried about stuff like that, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair right now, literally. If I had been daunted and overawed by early polling, I wouldn't have bothered to keep forging ahead, and I'm glad I forged ahead. So we're talking about an election that's a long way off, and we're talking about polling that's over the years gotten less and less reliable. So we'll see what the future brings. Go ahead, Dana.
Thanks. On a very different note, in 2017, after the in 2017, you resolved to remove all, quote, symbols of hate remaining on city property and to review those symbols of hate within 90 days. What's the status of that process?
Dana, you'll forgive me because I'm not sure my memory is exactly that about the 90 days. It may be, I just don't remember it being that way. What we said back when we had our Monuments Commission, and we had some very, very thoughtful, experienced, respected people looking at the issues, was trying to figure out what's a model going forward that makes sense. That work is ongoing. There's not one easy answer. Obviously now we have our Racial Justice Commission as well. That's going to be looking at these issues going forward. So I don't remember it as simple as that. I think we have ongoing work to do. But I think the good news is we're having a healthy discussion about what represents us today. How do we have values of respect and inclusion? How do we move forward as a society? And I think the best way, of course, to handle that is case by case with each issue that comes up.
Our last questions for today go to Yoav from the city.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to ask you follow up on Aaron's question from yesterday about DOE's findings of obstruction against Inspector Redmond. You said you take issue with the findings in the report, but the findings on Redmond include trouble by City Hall and the NYPD in obtaining Inspector Redmond's cell phone. The report found that, quote, City Hall repeatedly requested that Inspector Redmond provide his City Hall issued cell phone to an attorney at City Hall for production to DOI, but that he did not comply. DOI was informed that City Hall counsel sought the assistance of NYPD, and on multiple occasions, Inspector Redmond was requested by an attorney in NYPD's legal bureau to provide a City Hall issued cell phone to the City Hall attorney or to NYPD's legal bureau. Again, he did not comply. in the end, it took a direct order by senior leadership at the NYPD for him to turn over his cell phone. And this was 18 months after DOI requested it. So I understand you have concerns about some of DOI's findings, but City Hall and the NYPD were involved with this. So how can you dismiss those findings?
Yoav, again, I've been really clear. What I've tried to do throughout my time in City Hall is very, very consistently follow the rules, do what was appropriate, and focus on the needs of the people. When DOI presented me last year with a very thoughtful, very balanced report that sought input from all different perspectives related to the issues of policing, came back with criticisms and recommendations, I embraced it. What I saw in this report this year, however, was the polar opposite. There were just consistent, huge inaccuracies and a failure to pursue the truth with the people who had it, including the leading security experts at the NYPD. So there literally throughout the report are so many inaccuracies that I can't tell you that I know that that happened. I don't know that that happened. I don't have evidence that happened. I never heard of that happening. So where I go is to say, okay, NYPD, look at this. He's your employee, look at it. They've looked at it, they don't find anything. Now it's been sent to Manhattan DA, we'll see what they say. But I'm not going by a report that unfortunately is proven to be in so many ways inaccurate. Go ahead, Yoav.
Respectfully, whether you're aware of whether something happened or not is not the basis for it being fact or not. You can walk down the hall and speak to the City Hall Council or NYPD Legal Bureau if you need to affirm these facts for yourself. But why is it that you need to confirm facts that your own Department of Investigation confirmed? And again, they're citing problems with City Hall and the NYPD obtaining the same phone. So why isn't that a problem for you?
Yoav, again, I don't know how to say it more clearly. I think I've answered this a lot of times. The NYPD looks at this issue. If the NYPD had a concern and saw something, if my counsel's office, if anywhere, found something to confirm this, we'll follow up on that. But I just don't have a confirmation that this is exactly what happened. And to me, I'm sorry, DOI is another agency. We look at the facts. We have to figure out what is the truth in each situation. Unfortunately, here we're dealing with a report. I don't know why it was done this way, but it's a report that is so consistently inaccurate, it just isn't the final word. That's just the reality. Everybody, look, as we continue to move the city forward, I just want to say today the things we're talking about are all signs that we're moving forward, especially the continued progress on vaccination. And later this week, we're going to have hopefully another big moment when we're going to get to talk about the boosters coming for J&J and Moderna, so get ready for that. And then hopefully very soon thereafter, the opportunity to vaccinate our youngest New Yorkers. So vaccination is helping us move forward and some big news on the horizon. Let's keep moving forward, everyone. Thank you.